Good afternoon, Immaculate Conception Catholic School family. Welcome to an incredible Friday. Buenas tardes, ¿cómo están? Pues quiero darles unas noticias as we start getting ready to step into Holy Week. I know it's Palm Sunday this Sunday, so hopefully you guys have been preparing all of Lent for what's coming, and you guys take the most out of this experience with walking with Christ, uh, taking that walk to the cross with him and embracing the gift of redemption, his redemptive work that he did for us on that day. So espero que estén preparados para la Semana Santa. Tenemos el domingo de Ramos que viene este domingo y empieza la Semana Santa. Espero que hayan disfrutado de la Cuaresma y al mismo tiempo estén preparados para caminar este último paso con nuestro Señor a la resurrección que va a pasar el domingo, pero primero tenemos que cruzar la cruz, ¿verdad? Entonces preparamos nuestros corazones para este dolor y a la misma vez es el regalo que nos da Dios. Su trabajo en la cruz fue completado para el bien de todos nosotros. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I recently heard a story about I think it was a row team and a boat and a rowboat. There was a race, and many times as they went out, in a couple. So to summarize, what kind of happens in this story is this group goes out there, and all the teams that are racing are confronted by a storm, and the wind's blowing really hard, and no matter how hard they row, they find themselves that they're not really going anywhere. So most of the teams, all the teams, end up throwing what's called a drag to try to minimize the amount of ground that they lose by kind of keeping themselves grounded. But a particular team, because they had very weak signal, they didn't know what they were supposed to do. They kept rowing based on what commander base was telling them, and they checked in a couple hours later, and they were told to kind of keep doing what they were doing because it was working. And they could look at their GPS and realize we're really not going anywhere. What do you mean this is working? So, but they were true to what they were being told from the command. So they did that. They kept rowing, and they did this for another 4 hours. And they saw no grain really in their movement. But the command post kept telling them that to keep doing what they were doing because it was working. And this goes on for a while, and finally the storm subsides, and turns out that while they were rowing and really not going much forward, they were at the very least not going backwards. While everyone else was floating back, they were keeping their ground, and ultimately they won the race for that effort during the storm. While everyone else was kind of pushed back, they were able to stand their ground, and when the storm cleared, they were able to have that clear advantage over the competition. Um, so that's kind of what we have this COVID thing that's been in our midst for 2 4 years now, and it's definitely been a storm that has caused us to paddle, and many people stop paddling. But I can tell you that Immaculate Conception has paddled all the way through, and as a result, we have definitely been ahead of much of the competition, and more importantly, uh, much of what's out there nowadays. So, but that comes with the cost, and with that, I can tell you that looking at budget for next year, there's no way for us to sustain or keep a sustainable budget that's going to allow us to continue to do the work that we do without raising tuition. So we are going to be raising tuition. We feel very confident in what we provide, but at the same time, we also feel confident in the amount of tax dollars we can utilize to help with tuition. Many of you pay very little out of pocket expenses thanks to some of these donations, thanks to these scholarships. So we continue to utilize those to minimize the impact on you, but it will have a tremendous impact on what the school can provide. So please understand that we are doing everything we can to keep the cost low. and to utilize tax dollars to fund you. But we are going to be raising tuition by $400 for the year in the K to 8, and very comparable in the preschool, but it's still a very reasonable that we feel that we are able to provide the education that's adequate and beyond what you'll be able to find in the valley here in the Verde Valley. But at the same time, we also have the same type of energy in making sure that we go out and look for scholarship opportunities so that again it has more of an impact on the school and in protecting it long term, and very minimal impact as best as we can on parent pay. So we just thank you for your continued support. And again, you have our commitment to not only give you and provide you with your children with an incredible education, but also that we're going to go out and look for opportunities to help you and your family with tuition costs, with finding and continue to support you with tuition assistance. So if you have any questions, please reach out. And again, I thank you for all that your support that you provide this school. And as everything else goes up, unfortunately, so do we, so that we may be able to sustain the longevity of the school. Thank you for understanding, and I hope that you understand that we are definitely also making a huge emphasis on reaching out to scholarships so that we may have that opportunities for you in the future, because it's important. And as always, we work hard at providing a good education, but also providing that financial support so every one of you can continue to have the opportunity to be here. Have an incredible afternoon and enjoy your weekend as we walk into Holy Week. Buenas tardes, ¿cómo están? Digo que me acabo de acordar de una historia de un equipo de competencia de un barco. Estaban en el barco y entonces estaban peleando para remando, ¿verdad? Para la competencia, y llegó una tormenta después de unos días y entonces todos los equipos empezaron a tirar el ancla porque ya no querían estar remando, y un equipo en particular siguió remando como por 3, 4 horas y por fin decidió chequear con la base a ver qué decían ellos que hicieran, y les dijeron que siguieran haciendo lo mismo, y ellos notaban que no estaban avanzando nada, avanzaban muy poquito por el viento, pero les hicieron caso y se pusieron a remar por otras 4 horas. Y otra vez chequearon y les dijeron, sigan haciendo lo que están haciendo, lo están haciendo muy bien. Y ellos no entendían porque pues se estaban quedando donde mismo. Y al último, después de varias horas, que ya el viento se quita, la tormenta pasa, ah, se dieron cuenta de que todos los demás que pararon de remar, el viento se los había llevado para atrás muchísimo tiempo, y ellos iban muy avanzados de todos los demás simplemente porque no pararon de hacer lo que tenían que hacer durante la tormenta. Y mucho de eso es como nosotros durante el COVID, ¿verdad? La pandemia nos detuvo mucho, pero esta escuela siempre estuvo remando, siempre estuvimos tratando lo mejor para los niños, dándoles la educación, teniendo las puertas abiertas. Y entonces, pues todo eso, gracias a Dios, nos ha dejado que sigamos avanzando. Pero todo tiene su costo, ¿verdad? Sabemos que muchas cosas están subiendo y pues también la escuela, los costos nos están subiendo, y tenemos varios años que no subimos la colegiatura y ya no podemos sostener la escuela con esa misma clase de ingreso, así que tenemos que subir la colegiatura, vamos a subirla por $400 en el año. Pero gracias a Dios tenemos muchas becas, tenemos muchas oportunidades de becas que estamos muy seguros y confiados de que podemos utilizar las becas para seguir ayudándoles a ustedes. Muchos de ustedes reciben las becas donde no les toca pagar nada, así que estamos esperando que siga igual, simplemente vamos a seguir utilizando becas para cubrir los costos, primeramente Dios, sin que les traiga mucho a ustedes en su bolsillo, pero necesitamos que hacer esto para poder sostener la escuela de una manera que sabemos y estamos confiados que va a poder seguir adelante muchos años más. Así que les agradezco que siempre han tenido el apoyo de ustedes, los hemos tenido, gracias a ustedes, siempre estamos aquí fuertes, seguimos dando una educación muy adecuada y queremos seguir dando esos beneficios por mucho tiempo. Así que queremos utilizar este momento para hacer este cambio de subir la colegiatura para el año que entra, pero igual tenemos confiados de que vamos a poder conseguir las becas para que tenga un muy pequeño, que no les vaya a afectar a ustedes demasiado en su bolsillo, de utilizar las becas lo más posible. So, les agradezco y alguna pregunta que tengan, por favor, no se detengan. Les deseo que tengan muy buen fin de semana, especialmente entrando Semana Santa. Y como siempre, les deseo que sigan siguiendo a nuestro Dios, que sigan confiando en Él y también sabiendo que esta Semana Santa es una bendición para todos porque hay muchas partes en otros países que están sufriendo mucho y nosotros aquí pues de veras tenemos mucho por qué sentirnos bendecidos. Que Dios me los cuide, que tengan muy buen fin de semana.